Can you describe a building in detail? Do you know how to talk about the features of a property? In today's video, we are going to be looking at 41 different buildings, which will help you improve both your vocabulary and descriptive skills. Hello and welcome. Today we are going to be looking at all the vocabulary you need to describe any building. Usually people just speak about a house or a flat or a shop, but today you will learn more detailed vocabulary. This will help you explain exactly what you mean. This video will show you how to name 41 different types of building, how to describe their construction and talk about their important features. This video is in 5 parts. Part 1, useful vocabulary for this lesson. You can freeze the page to check the vocabulary. Part 2, construction details. Part 3, residential buildings, places where people live. Part 4, commercial and other buildings. After the video, there is a test so that you can check your progress. Firstly, let's look at the construction. You can talk about when a building was made. A building can be traditional, or it can be modern or recent. It can be historic or contemporary. In the UK, we often talk about a building's age by mentioning the king or queen reigning at the time. For example, here is a Victorian house built during the reign of Queen Victoria between 1837 and 1901. You can also describe the date of building by talking about the decade. For example, this house was constructed in the 1930s. Buildings are often described by talking about the materials that are used to construct them. So, buildings that are made of wood are said to have a timber construction. Buildings made using bricks are said to have a brick construction. Buildings made of concrete are said to have a concrete construction. Buildings made of local stone are said to have a natural stone construction. When you look at a building, you can say, for example, this building has concrete rendering, which means the bricks or blocks used in construction have been covered by a layer of concrete. If the skeleton or frame of the building is made of wood, it is said to have a timber frame. If the skeleton or frame of a building is made of steel, it is said to be a steel-framed building. Talking about the features of a building may have a tiled roof or a concrete roof, or a galvanized roof or a corrugated roof. The roof may be pitched, or you can also say sloping, or flat. The roof usually extends over the walls. The area under the roof and above the walls is called the eaves. Birds sometimes build nests in the eaves. A building is often described by the number of floors or stories it has. It can be a single-story building, such as a bungalow, or a multi-story building, such as a block of flats. In a block of flats in the UK, the floor at ground level is called the ground floor, or floor 0 if you use the lift. In many other countries, the floor at ground level is called the first floor, or floor 1 in a lift. Older houses may have wooden window and door frames. Newer properties may have aluminium or PVC frames. In some countries, windows have wooden shutters to keep out the sunlight. So let's look at buildings, at residential buildings. Here's a block of flats. In the UK, we usually say flat rather than apartment, but both are okay. A flat may be part of a block of flats, or it may be part of a traditional house or building that has been converted into flats. If you live in a block of flats, then you can say, I live in a purpose-built block of flats. If you live in a flat which has been converted from a house or other building, then you would say, I live in a converted flat. Here we see a terraced house, and in the UK most terraced houses are built of brick. They have pitched roofs. Older style terraced houses may be built of natural stone, usually stone found in that local area. A terraced house is connected in a row with other terraced houses. If you live at the end of a row of terraced houses, then that house is called an end terraced house. Terraced houses may be built right next to the pavement, or they may have small gardens at the front of the building. At the back of the property there may be a garden, or in the city, more likely, a small concrete yard. This is a semi-detached house. In the US it would be called a duplex. It is connected to only one other house. Typically, these houses have a front garden or parking area and a rear garden. The gardens are usually separated by a fence. Here you see a detached house. This timber house has a pitched roof. The features of a typical detached house are as follows. Firstly, it's not connected to any other building because it's detached, and detached means apart. Secondly, it's built on its own land, so may have a garden or parking area or any type of land all around it. In the UK, it's quite popular to give a detached house a name. As shown here, Curtain House. This is a studio, and a studio is a small flat with only one room, which includes the kitchen. Of course, there will also be a bathroom. In UK cities where property is very expensive, studios have become popular, especially with students and people who want to buy their own home. And this is a lodge. There are actually two meanings for the word lodge. In the UK, a lodge is traditionally a house that is built on the land of a larger building. It's often built by the entrance to the road which leads to the main building. It was the home of the gatekeeper many years ago, but often these days lodges are bought and sold apart from the main building, and they make super family homes. The second meaning of lodge is a holiday home, typically in the country, forest or mountains, or by the sea. You may see lodges advertised when you look for holiday accommodation on the internet. Let's take a look at this bungalow. A bungalow is a single-storey building. The name comes originally from India, where small bangla huts were used for travellers. In the UK today, bungalows are popular with retired people, as there are no stairs. Bungalows are usually quite small buildings, but sometimes they are built on a large area of land. What about a townhouse? A townhouse is typically a single family home on more than 2 stories. This is sandwiched between or next to other homes just like it. A maisonette in the UK is a set of rooms for living in, typically on 2 stories of a larger building and with its own street level entrance. And check out this incredible castle. A castle is a large, strong building built in the past by a ruler or important person to protect the people inside from attack. They served as both a home and a fortress. A castle is often built on a hilltop or surrounded by water, called a moat, and this makes them easier to defend. It's a chalet. In the UK, a chalet is usually a small and lightweight structure for family holidays. It's often one of many on a holiday campsite. However, the word chalet may also mean a Swiss chalet, which is typical of the Alps region of Europe. It's made of wood with a heavy, gently sloping roof and wide, well-supported eaves. How would you like to spend a week in a log cabin? Well, the traditional log cabin is made of logs from the local area. These days, machined wood is often used. A log cabin may be found in a forested or mountainous area. It's quite basic accommodation and does not usually have a large floor area. A house extension. An extension is extra accommodation built onto an original building to make more space. So people may have, for example, a kitchen extension to make their kitchen bigger, or a lounge extension to make their lounge bigger. A cowboy would love a ranch or ranch-style home. Traditionally, a ranch is a farm with herds of cows, sheep, or horses with a family home built on it. But these days, a ranch or ranch-style property means a single-storey house with origins of a Spanish hacienda. As the suburbs in the United States grew in the 1950s, these types of homes became popular due to the wide open spaces. A ranch is usually found in a rectangular or L or U shape with an open casual layout. These homes typically have extended eaves and a low-pitched roof, along with an attached garage. An incredible contemporary mansion. A contemporary mansion is a large, modern and luxurious building with lots of wonderful features. Media rooms, pools, bars, wine cellars, cigar rooms, gyms, additional kitchens are all typical. The materials used in construction have to be top quality, as do all the appliances in these houses. And here you see a traditional mansion. Mansion comes from the Latin word mansio, meaning to dwell or live in. This type of building will be quite old and spacious, with numerous large rooms and period features, and is usually surrounded by a very large garden or park area. An amazing country cottage. A cottage is really a small house in a rural area. However, the word cottage these days may also include much larger country homes built in a traditional style. Voulez-vous un chateau? A chateau is a manor house or residence of the lord of the manor, or a country house of an important person. Originally and still today, you will find a chateau mainly in French-speaking regions. The king or queen need a palace. A palace is built to be luxurious, spacious and comfortable. Palaces are built for important people, so they have large halls and spacious rooms. The idea is to display wealth and good taste. They are symbolic of a leisurely life. A villa. Actually, a villa may be similar in size to a normal family home, but many are larger and more luxurious. These types of houses often have gardens, vineyards, fountains or courtyards. Also, typically, villas are built in a warmer country than the UK. A mobile home is living accommodation, usually on wheels, so it can be moved. These are popular in the UK as second or holiday homes and on large holiday sites where people may rent the holiday home for a short period. Treehouse. This is a very unusual form of accommodation, but is becoming more popular in the UK as a holiday home for visitors, or perhaps just for children to play. It is very eco-friendly and has a high novelty factor. A farmhouse is a family home for the farmer and his wife. It's usually built like any other house, but very often they are made of natural stone and they may date back many years. An outbuilding is a building that is built apart from the main residential building. It could be a barn, an outside toilet, a chicken house, a generator shed. It's any kind of external building. For example, a barn is a place where machinery or animals may be put. An annex is accommodation that is built to provide extra accommodation for a building. These days, for example, a modern house may be built with a granny annex, which is independent living accommodation for an elderly relative. Now let's look at commercial and other types of building. What are commercial buildings? Well, a good example is an office block. An office block is a large multi-storey building containing the offices of one or more companies. A railway station is a stopping place for trains where passengers can get on or off the train. Inside the railway station, you will see a platform, which is the area next to the track, where passengers wait for the train. King's Cross Station, London, was built in 1852 in brick, timber and iron. A bus station is a stopping point for buses where passengers can get on or off buses. There is usually a waiting room, a cafe and ticket office in main bus stations. You all know what a museum is. Yes, it's a building in which objects of historical, scientific, artistic or cultural interest are stored and shown. In the UK, most of the national museums and art galleries are free to enter. Here is the Natural History Museum in London. An indoor shopping centre in the United States is called a mall. There are a lot of shops in one indoor area and there are no cars or traffic. A fast food takeaway is somewhere you can order food to take out or take away, as we say in the UK. The normal things you find in fast food takeaways are kebabs, pizza, fish and chips, Chinese or Indian food. A petrol station, a garage, a service station, a filling station, a servo, all of these names describe a place where you take your car to put fuel in it. In the United Kingdom, Ireland and South Africa, garage is commonly used. Also in the UK, petrol station is normal. In the US, filling station is preferred. If you have a problem with your car, you will need to find a mechanic. You will usually find a mechanic working at a garage or repair garage in the UK. An industrial unit may be very large or very small and is a place where a company operates some kind of business. It's usually a steel-framed structure. An art gallery is a room or building for the display or sale of works of art. In the UK, most national galleries are free to enter. Here is the famous National Art Gallery in London. A cinema. Well, I think you know a cinema is a place where you can see a film. In the US, a cinema is called a movie theatre. The Empire Cinema in Leicester Square, London, is very well known. A factory is a place where things are produced. Things like cars, electrical products, furniture. These days, factories are often made with steel frames and steel or concrete panels. A processing plant is similar to a factory, but here products such as food, for example, are treated or prepared. A warehouse is a place where any product or thing may be stored until it is sent to its final destination. For example, a tea warehouse, a carpet warehouse, a computer warehouse. You can store anything in a warehouse. Fire station. I'm sure you know, this is where fire engines and firemen and female firefighters are based. A control tower is a structure which may be found at airports, or in this case, at a ferry port in my hometown, where there is a river crossing and no bridge. Now, here's a quick test of two properties. Can you answer these questions? What's the name of this property? What is it made of? What can you say about its age? What kind of roof does it have? I'm in the north of Moscow. It's a park, a clearing in the park, surrounded by trees. I have a question for you. How would you describe this building? Do you have a name for it? Can you think about the construction, the materials used? Who was this building made for? In this street, we have a row of semi-detached houses. They're made of red brick, and the windows are mostly white PVC double glazed windows. These houses were built in the 1930s and they have pitched, tiled roofs. Many of the owners have decided to make a parking space at the front of the building rather than have a garden. And it's very interesting to see that some of these semis have had extensions built on the side. This provides extra space for a garage, hallway or additional living space such as a bedroom. This is a timber building made of logs. You could call it a log cabin, but it's a little large for a cabin. You could say it's a two-story building made of logs. It has a wooden door and window frames with ornate designs. It has deep, overhanging eaves and a small tower over the entrance. It has a sloping roof. It was built originally in the 19th century and then reconstructed in 1988. It is in the style of Russian buildings of the 16th century. This building is now called the Vasiliev Museum. Konstantin Vasiliev was a Russian artist who died in 1976 at the very young age of 34. This building is dedicated to Vasiliev, who very much admired the old Russian-style buildings. I hope you did well with those questions. There's a full test about every property coming up in a moment. You have just seen 41 different types of building, and also we've looked at some useful vocabulary needed when you are describing these properties in detail. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, please do the usual thing. I will be producing more vocabulary lessons soon. Please let me know what you think about this video. Your comments and suggestions are always appreciated. Have a great day and bye for now.